Alright, I want more villains in this game, obviously. So all the characters that I'm trying to brainstorm for, please add this character, I'm gonna try and lead more into villains. And of course, since I've been reading Doctor Strange again, I went and bought some more of his old comics. The Mark Waid run is what I'm reading currently. Baron Mordo. He was just in those comics, obviously, and you see why I'm thinking this. Now, I have always been against ability bloat in this game. But hear me out, let's make him all three roles. Not in the Deadpool kind of way, where he's tank, DPS, and in a way where he swaps, like switching forms. Essentially, what I want is duelist. He's going to be a duelist. And that should be his main or strongest form. And he has the ability on a 10-second cooldown to swap to an either tankier, it's not really a tank, that's just what we're calling it, or a support form for better util or different util. In total, he'll only have about 6 abilities and the primary fire, excluding the ability that allows him to swap. Excluding that, he'll have about 6 abilities. He'll have his primary fire, which only the stats should change for them, unless you have better thoughts on what you want them to do. His secondary fire will be I'm thinking 7 seconds, maybe. All the numbers I throw out are just hypothetical, but I'm thinking 7 second thing. Well, it's just a slam. So like, you know, if you've played Baldur's Gate 3, the one spell that looks like it's a little jellyfish, and it's whatever. It's gonna do a shock wave of blank effect, depending on the roll. And then his melee will have different effects. Now let's get right into it. Now for the first form, for DPS. Actually, let's talk about how he gets his different forms. His different forms are going to come from Mordo's signature thing. Drawing on people of other dimensions, drawing on demons and powers that are above his, because he wants to kill Doctor Strange. And he is a villain, he's not any anti-hero. If you've seen just the movie, he's a completely different character. The movie doesn't do him justice. Anyways, he draws on powers from other worlds, most notably Dormammu, but in some stories it's Nightmare or other people. I only have Nightmare and Dormammu picked out for his kit because I think they have the most flavor text. If you have one in mind that you want to use for the other thing that I will go unmentioned, then go ahead and say it. I'd love to hear it. Anyways, right here. Dormammu is going to be DPS. His primary fire, normal primary fire, higher damage. It shouldn't 2-tap, but it should come close. If that makes sense. Shouldn't 2-tap, but it should come close. That way he doesn't feel too far behind in power. I want the right click, the pulse, to deal damage. It should deal damage. It should be fire themed. I'm gonna call it Necro Fire. Obviously, I would prefer just a burning effect, but I think adding characters who have one specific thing in their kit and then no one else can interact with that is terrible. Like Dino has bleed. Nobody else has bleed or can interact with bleed. If we keep it that way, I think that's bad and just weird because it means Dino has his own ecosystem that nobody else really engages in. Supports, maybe we add a support who, and only if it makes sense for the character, not just because we need it in the game. They heal more against two bleeding targets. Or maybe their ability affects bleeding targets differently for some reason or not. Maybe it cures bleeding. If just having characters interact. So I am so for Mysterio being a smoke-based character because it engages with Punisher's passive to see through smokes. That's cool. That's some cool shit. Cool interactions between characters in the game. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I'm calling it Necrofire because I don't want to add a new effect to the game. So that way every single character in the game applies their own unique effect. Bloats the game. Bloats the file, say. So it makes it harder to optimize, is what I'm saying. And it means they don't interact with each other as well. So I'm calling it Necrofire so I can apply bleed. It won't do take damage. only the bleed take damage. It's just going to do a burst of damage and apply that effect. His primary fire won't apply it. His melee, going to be fairly high damage, pretty much the same damage as his primary, and so that way it can be used as an animation cancel, as well as, no, I already said that first part, as well as do the main damage of his primary. Most of the damage, iffy on that. Strategist form next, because the strategist DPS, they're different forms. He's drawing on the power of different deities. It's very cool. I think it's a very cool idea. So this one, when he's drawing from Nightmare, he can use the energy of dreams, of the dream realm. Oh yeah, he'll have 3 different ultimates too, by the way. At least in my dreams. He will have normal primary. His primary will do less damage. This form will have the least damage. His right click, boom, pulse. It's a 50 health heal instantly, and a 100 health bonus overshield. And I want it to apply some sort of effect, but only as long as you keep the overshield. So let's say it's a 5% damage boost and a 1 meter per second speed boost. Just off the top of my head. I'd prefer it be a different unique effect, but just off the top of my head for that. It would apply as long as you have the overshield. If nobody hits you, then you keep it. Right? But if you get too aggressive, you lose it instantly. Or if people just focus you, you lose it instantly and you never get to use it. I think that's pretty cool. And then his melee does healing. If you hit your teammates with it, he heals with his melee. I think that's reasonable. I don't think that's crazy. And then the third form that I'm referring to as a tank form, it's not really a tank form. I don't really have a deity for this one. None have really come to mind, but what I want is his right click to be way faster animation wise, and then you can hold it. The pulse can be held, and it puts up a barrier, sort of like a mag barrier. You can hold it for about a second, and it's just a barrier. When switching into this form, his health bar should increase by about 100 health. Like if he's 250 at base, then it goes to 350, right? But he does not get the one-time heal that Mr. Fantastic does. It's just increased to max health. He can put up that shield. He does less damage than the DPS, than the Dormammu form. He does more damage than the Nightmare form. So it's kind of in the middle. And then his melee pushes enemies away from him, giving him a way to keep or make space. When I say it out loud, he sounds broken, but think he only has 2 real abilities in each form, melee and the second ability, plus 10 seconds between switching forms. All the cooldowns on these forms will be tracked separately to give him at least something, but like, do you wait 7 seconds for your thing to be up, or do you wait 10 seconds to use it again, because you'll swap 10 more seconds, swap back, and then you can use it again. 10 sounds like it's too much, but they're all theoretical numbers. Now here's what I mean. That's pretty much the base kit that I have. Here's what I mean by I want him to have 3 separate ultimates. I think it'd be cool if his ultimate was, it'll show you where it's placed or what's happening. But actually, first one, we're going to start with Dormammu. It's going to show you where it's placed, but it's not going to show the enemy team. That's not like going to highlight like Jeff Holt where it's going to be placed. Instead, massive crack in the sky, like the fabric of reality is being torn apart because he's summoning Dormammu, and Dormammu spews a bunch of that fire onto the floor. It'll stay there for just a couple of seconds. The fire does take damage like a Human Torch flame field, and it applies the bleeding. That'd be cool. Now, obviously, if they go down this route, my hypothetical, theoretical route with this character, you don't have to do the bleeding. You could do burning, but I just think characters' kits should interact, and one ability should be on one effect that someone can apply should apply. Multiple characters should be able to apply instead of just one, but that's my own personal belief, and I don't know a lot about game design, so take me at that. And then on top, And then the other one for Nightmare, I want his primary fire to do the bursts. When he does damage with his primary fire, not when he heals with his melee, only when he is doing damage, it applies the bursts of the 100 over health and the 50 instant heal. Obviously, you'd have to cap out how much over health you could give your teammates using it, but it's not a basic support ult. It encourages being aggressive. Part of me says I want it to do like 50 damage as well, 50 damage and a pulse, give him AoE with that ultimate, because it is an ultimate, otherwise it'll feel super weak. But I don't know. Let me know what you think. I think it's really cool. Do I have an idea for the third ultimate? No, not at all. My idea was like a gravity bomb where you place it and then every bullet that goes through it is sucked up into the middle of it like a mag ult, but it just explodes right there. And also wherever you placed it, heavy slowdown, and like it's trying to pull you into it. Not really a slowdown, but it's trying to pull you into it, and so you have to use some sort of ability to get out of it. Or when it explodes, if you're in the epicenter of it, when it explodes, it's probably going to kill you with no limit on how much it can absorb. So that's my idea for it, but I don't really have much for it. So I need your help to flesh it out. But that's my idea. I think it's really cool. Not maybe the best design-wise and how good he's going to be, but I like it. That's all that matters. That's what my grandma says. See ya.